All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Decision Points. We are keeping coverage on the situation in Gaza and Greta, as you can see, because literally no one else seems to be interested in covering it, including the big channels on Rumble, which is greatly disappointing. So we're going to do that job here for you. We've got a number of different kind of strings we're pulling on. We're using unconventional sources like Telegram, so we've got some good sources there. I think the flotilla, obviously, their channels on Instagram and Telegram are good sources, but we're looking wherever we can to find out where they've been taken, where these 12 abductees are currently. I think at this point most of you would know that they were taken around 2:30 a.m. last night, and where they are now is unclear what crimes they're being charged of. These are all things that we're going to be sussing out. In the background here, you can see CNN, and still no coverage as I've seen, and I've looked on MSNBC, Fox News. They all seem to be covering the Trump-Elon fight. What's going on in California, as many of you know, conveniently, perhaps a bit suspiciously, the California protest is ongoing, and ICE raids were triggered. And this is related to the undocumented workers in California. The Trump brought in the National Guard, and the mayor, the governor, they're all saying that it was unnecessary, but yeah, there's been escalations there. Demonstrations turned confrontational, the burning of cars, freeway blockages, and whatnot. But anyway, we're not talking about that here. We're here for another reason. We're here to put the attention on Greta Thunberg and where is she? What's going on? What are the new laws that are being broken? We're going to cover all this. We covered some of that last night. But for those of you who want the up-to-date stuff, we're here for it. So anyway, that said, it's not the opportune time because CNN, their logo isn't up there, but we're symbolically going to change the channel and put the focus where it should be. And of course, that would happen. Well, we're getting there. All right, Greta captured. Oh, and of course, mild interruption. All right, so we're going to talk about it, guys. So in my logo, suffering. Again, suffering. Brand standards are important, guys. On the right side, okay. We're a work in progress, but we're getting better each day. All right. And that will have to be good enough. All right, so without further ado, and with a clean looking logo in the corner, let's get into it. So, as I said, we want to look at the unconventional news sources because Google has not been helpful. Even Instagram and Twitter are just cycling through old stuff. So let's take a look at Telegram, who really is probably more than Rumble, unfortunately, the best source for uncensored media. They've I think their owner got arrested a couple times in France and perhaps elsewhere because he's a target because he does not kind of bend a knee to anyone. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things shared by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. So I'll bring you over here so you can see what I can see. Yeah, so this is from yesterday. Joint conference. Yeah, we'll take this one first.
And you know, breaking the siege has never been more important when we think about, you know, the extermination that people
So
in
yeah,
Gaza are
now
facing.
we're gonna, sorry, swipe left on that. That was before they got boarded, obviously. Okay, yeah, here we go.
It's chemical. Be calm. They're dropping chemicals on us. They're dropping chemicals on us. We don't know what it is. Look at this. Look at this. They are. Okay, everyone, take cover, please.
Take over, everyone. Take over and be careful. Look,
So
we've all practiced this. We knew this could happen.
they are not peaceful. This is not an interception. This is another war crime about to happen. This is another war crime about to happen against civilians. It's civilian. It's a trip of carrying nothing but humanitarian aid. So please keep your eyes on us. I will turn the camera so you can see what I mean. We don't know what this is. I don't know how to turn
And this
the
is what we
camera
heard
around.
about yesterday.
What is this, guys?
They sprayed some sort of a white foam
Here it is.
all over the
We
boat.
don't know. We don't know.
If anybody knows what that is,
Guys, can we put this down? Can we
please
put
leave
this
it
down?
in the chat. But as of
I don't think it's a good idea.
right now, it seems to be
Everyone,
just a mystery. I don't know if it's
we
just
know our
for
positions. We just
to
sound the
mess
alarm
with
to
them.
everyone. We are in contact with our land team here. Stay calm. Get your passports. Everyone has a passport.
I don't have my passport.
they're getting their passports together. But yeah, I don't know if that's psychological warfare or there's a utility to what was sprayed there, but definitely an odd thing I've never heard of.
So you can see it clearly there. It stinks really, really bad. We don't know what it is. And we're putting up the Palestine flag to protect us, literally. We are using the Palestine flag to protect us. This is what we are doing right now.
So again, this is footage that was shared
We
on
don't know
Telegram
what this paint is.
that I had not seen
tell
before.
you. It smells very,
Let's go. But light paint.
we, shit, guys. I'm so sorry that there's just so much happening right now. Do we have the grab bags?
Avoid to inhale this paint. Avoid to touch it.
Do we have masks, guys?
What is this? It's paint.
We don't have any masks, so I
Worried
will cover
about
my mouth.
tear gas.
Okay, use your kafiyas. Use your kafiyas to. Oh my God! We need water.
Yes, please.
This chemical.
This is going to distribute all of our passports right now. We put in a safe place, okay? I need light. Please. Yes, Mark.
Okay, time check. Yes, please. Okay, the IOF is contacting us right now. I'm filming it.
Right, please film this. You can
Yeah, so the radio was jammed.
put lights and other things.
I think probably right around now.
Okay, we just thought that the IOF is making contact. Oh my God, it's burning my eyes, this thing. Is it burning your eyes? No?
Oh. Everywhere on the book.
It's okay.
Yeah,
My
so
phone's
that's a
about to
look
die.
inside the flotilla. Actually, before we go further into their Telegram account, I did want to take a look. Let's see. Yep. No, that's not what we want. That's not it either. Here we go. Okay. So there were some more inside videos that they were showing of what was going on the boat that I thought was useful. This is the Freedom Flotilla Instagram account, which had a lot of good inside looks. I think this is the
This is being very
yeah. This is from a different angle and at a different time period too.
Guys, oh my God!
Les boats are here. We've been intercepted.
Les journalistes humanitaires n'ont rien à faire en prison. Mobilisez-vous, mobilisez-vous.
Go to your places. Ditch the phones. Ditch the phones. Ditch the phones.
Yeah, it's saying ditch the phones.
Phones in the water, please.
Again, anyone in the comments who knows why they'd want to throw the phones out.
Assume position, please, everyone. To the water. To the water.
Looks like they have I don't know if they just don't want the contracts or transmissions to be by the Israelis or what, but
Give me the phone, give me the phone.
Yes, yes.
Give me the phone, give me the phone. Give me the phone. C'était le deuxième.
Everyone, assume position. That's not a position at all. Rima cannot be here. Rima needs to take a seat. Assume your position. The
so
position
they
is
get boarded.
please.
The thing that I don't get about this is the camera dude, who you can see up there. That just looks like a suspicious guy. I would not be the one carrying that when the Israelis.
We are being boarded right now. We're being intercepted right now.
Looks like it's got a scope
Please,
on it.
everyone, make sure that you make noise. If anything happens to us, this is yet another war crime. Added to the long list of war crimes that Israel has been committing.
We are being intercepted right now. We have way. Everyone here is safe. No one is wounded right now. Very important that you know, no one is wounded until the time they boarded our boat. Okay?
It's a smart thing
Please raise the alarm.
to record.
Okay, they're asking us to take over the phone.
You can see in the timestamp it's 2 a.m.
Right now. If I can manage to throw it in the water, I have to.
Signal was lost. Signal was Okay, everyone, phones need to go. Phones need to go.
The
Please.
Israelis
Don't in the water. In the water. Only from 10
until
Take
10
this.
eventually.
We are taking everything down. Guys, anything that is sensitive needs to go down.
That one is another phone there. You put the computer.
Yeah, this phone is Francesca Bonet. Signal was gone.
Lève les mains.
We have no signal.
Call sign. Mike, Romeo, Alpha, Hotel,
Okay.
Je ferai des photos, je vous envoie.
MMC number
Yes, yes. Don't shoot.
3
On va la
2
chercher.
0 5
Say
7
please.
3
Okay,
6
everyone,
7.
the interception is being calm until now.
Mayday.
It's not
Seven
escalating.
vessel
It's okay.
Call sign. Mike, Romeo, Alpha, Hotel, 8. MMC number 2 3 2 0 5 7
the boat.
7. Condition
The phone, please.
1 degree.
Calm down, calm down. Calm down.
At that point, the camera guy puts his camera down.
Calm down, everyone. Please. Calm down. Everything's gonna be alright. Calm down. Wait. Hey.
Yeah.
This is being very protected for us.
So that
Oh my God!
at the end
Guys,
there,
take over. The boats are here. We've been intercepted.
Les journalistes humanitaires n'ont rien à faire en prison.
at the end there, that was the famous shot that you see a lot in social media. But anyway, that's one look into what they were experiencing right before they got boarded.
On the evening of May 31st,
We got something else here for
2010,
you.
Israel
This is a
launched a
longer form
full-scale
video.
military assault on our flotilla.
Longer form video talking about the history of this flotilla, Freedom Flotilla operation, which for those of you who are unfamiliar, yeah, this is going to be worthwhile to see where they started and how things progressed. And it includes the attack that happened in 2010 on the Mavi Marmara. So anyway, I'll go ahead and let this play.
9 of our volunteers instantly, and one other lay in coma for 4 years before he died.
Only civilian passengers on board this ship. If you can hear behind me, that is live fire by the Israeli army.
Look, come on.
Taking you back, the international effort to confront and challenge Israel's illegal closure on Gaza began in 2008. A group of international activists came together to get 2 small fishing boats to take to sea and try to reach Gaza. And on those 2 small fishing boats were 44 activists from 17 countries, primarily the United States and Europe. Those 2 small fishing boats became the first boats ever to reach the shores of Gaza, and we promised the people of Gaza that we would keep sailing until the siege on Gaza was broken. After that first successful mission to Gaza, we were able to get into Gaza via the sea 4 more times. And then, at the end of 2008, Israel launched a brutal military assault on the Gaza Strip called Operation Castlead. A few days after, we organized an emergency boat to try to get to the people of Gaza, carrying medicine, doctors, journalists, to witness what is happening and to try to assist. The Israeli Navy rammed our small ship, deliberately trying to sink it. It had to be rescued by the Lebanese Coast Guard.
Shouts of welcome and a moment of excitement at the Lebanese harbor of Tyre, where the boat Dignity has finally docked in safety. It was hit and partly damaged by an Israeli Navy vessel.
We did not give up, and a few weeks later organized another attempt to sail to Gaza, which Israel nearly capsized. Still, we didn't give up, and again we organized another ship which was pirated by the Israeli Navy.
You are threatening to open fire on unarmed civilians who constitute no threat to the state of Israel or its armed forces, carrying only humanitarian aid destined for the people of the Gaza Strip. We have a former member of the U.S. Congress on board. We have a Nobel Peace Prize winner on board.
They've jammed our radar and they've jammed our GPS.
Where is President Obama and his serious actions about bringing peace to Palestine and the Middle East? Where is the United Nations? Where are the European Union? All silent.
We got one kite on this side.
It was then in 2009 that we had the idea to escalate our efforts and organize, instead of 1 or 2 small ships, a large flotilla. And then in May 2010, that flotilla came together with 7 vessels, cargo ships and passenger vessels, carrying 700 people from over 35 countries around the world and 10,000 tons of humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza.
Where are you coming from?
This boat
Yes.
came from Crete.
On the evening of May 31st, 2010, over 50 people were injured. Everyone was taken hostage and brutalized.
Announcement one more time. All the brothers on all the decks, we have lost the main control of the ship. Please come down and take your seats. Come down and take your seats. Be very calm, be very calm. Come back and take your seats. Assalamu alaikum.
After Israel attacked our flotilla and killed 10 of our volunteers, it set to work trying to frame the 2010 Freedom Flotilla as a Turkish initiative, as an Islamist extremist initiative, in an attempt to justify its unhinged and unlawful brutality against unarmed volunteers. And they are trying to do it again in order to set the stage for a violent interception and attack on our ship, which is a global civil society initiative of unarmed civilians carrying humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza.
And I'll just pause there. So there was a response from America at that time. It was not sufficient. It's kind of reminiscent of the USS Liberty, which I'll talk about at the end here, where USS Liberty was a American vessel that was attacked by Israel, which it seems like most likely either to draw the U.S. into war with Egypt, or just to destroy it because we had witnessed war crimes that was happening. This is back in 1967. Again, I'll give more details later, but that did not cause a U.S. reaction or a UN reaction. And similarly, the 2010 attack on this flotilla ship did not spur a reaction either. I thought I had it here. Anyway, it was Obama reacting to it, and he had some tough language, but ultimately there was no repercussions. I think there was an apology and some minor, a couple $1 million thrown at the victims, but yeah, I don't see it here. Anyway, all right, we'll just return to the video, I guess. Okay.
They may have not been able to achieve their goal to reach Gaza, but they have vowed that the Freedom Flotilla to break Israel's siege on the Strip will not be the last.
I will do it any number of times because Israel has no claim over Gaza.
I will go again and again and again on missions to Gaza until the siege is broken.
And today's emergency flotilla to Gaza, the effort that you're seeing now is a continuation of that effort. Today we are a coalition made up of 14 national campaigns and organizations across 12 countries, Turkey being just one of them. We have a Canada Boats to Gaza, US Boats to Gaza campaigns in Sweden, Norway, Australia, New Zealand, Spain, called Rumba Gaza, South Africa. This is a very international initiative. It is the way it began and it is the way it exists today. A civil society initiative of people who are horrified that our governments have done nothing to rein in Israel, to stop its war crimes, crimes against humanity, its persecution, and now attempted annihilation of the Palestinian people. Our governments have failed, and so the people are taking action. We need you to join. People all over the world, you don't have to be on those ships. Actually, we need you in your home country taking action. Please follow our channels, all eyes on this flotilla. That is our best protection. Call on your governments to do the right thing, to demand safe passage for the flotilla. And follow us on our social media channels for accurate updates from the Freedom Flotilla. We will be updating you as regularly as we can. Thank you.
All right, so that's a good summary of the background of where they came from, some of the things that they've gone through. Obviously, doing nothing but bringing aid. They've been attacked, they've been murdered, and it's continuing now. Israel is breaking laws, and we'll walk through each of the laws that potentially they could be found of breaking. The likelihood, though, if the status quo continues the same, is that they won't receive any ramifications for what they did. So anyway, just a quick pause here, though. This is the Gaza Freedom Flotilla. If you want to follow them, I guess I should practice what I preach. Support the cause, increase the signal for them, like their posts let's try and help the algorithm share this with more people. This is what we're here for. So yeah, there's a couple other videos here that's worth. Yeah, this one is useful. This has a number of slides here that we'll walk through. So this is the famous picture that you've probably seen. This is the last images before they were boarded and taken off the Madeleine. And yeah, there's 11 international volunteers, one journalist, all abducted on international waters. No legal basis for Israel to do this at all. They're just a bunch of pirates, essentially. The FFC lawyers in occupied Palestine have been trying to make contact with Israeli military officials. As of the start of this video, there were no updates as to where Greta and her crew are, which is, what have they been charged with? Who knows? But yeah, no response as of yet. Continuing on. So at 3:02 a.m., so it was about an hour before, the spraying of that white foam, whatever that chemical was, till that started until at this point, they were just 110 nautical miles off of Gaza. So, perhaps a day or two at most. It was boarded by IOF in international waters. Prior to their abduction, the quadcopter drone flew in close range before attacking with a white chemical-like substance which harmed the eyes. Signals were jammed, and disturbing audio was broadcast to interfere with communication over radio systems. So this kind of audio warfare is what they're doing in Gaza to the Gaza citizens on a nightly basis to kind of not allow the children, the people there to sleep, just to kind of terrorize them. It's inhumane, makes no, it's not justified, it's not protecting them, it's not Israel defending itself, it's them torturing, humiliating, and making their lives a living hell until they all go crazy and, I mean, most of them have lost the will to live. Unfortunately, there's, a lot of terrible videos talking about this. So I encourage you, even though it's hard, to expose yourself to it so you can talk about it and bear witness to it and to motivate yourself to do more, because that's what we need. We need to get momentum going to fix what's going on. Otherwise, it's going to continue. And continue in our name and with our money, right? Okay, so it goes on here to say the volunteers were attacked and taken away against their will while sailing lawfully toward Palestine. Yeah, they weren't violating any laws. So continuing on here, the Israeli media reports that no volunteers have been physically harmed. And then it talks about the psychological impact. This is not the first time Israel has attacked and abducted FFC volunteers. That's the Freedom Flotilla coalition. In 2010, they murdered 10 people aboard the Mavi Marmara. No state has the authority to enforce an unlawful blockade, which is what's going on in Gaza, especially one whose primary purpose is to starve civilians and obstruct humanitarian relief. The violations, among many, and the ones that rise to the level of war crimes, relate to the fact that they're blocking humanitarian aid to a starving population. That kind of escalates things. Okay. Claim. Okay, yeah, and this is some more good details that's worth going over. So there was no security threat posed by a civilian sailboat. These are, again, loopholes that could justify Israel, but they just don't have any. These guys were unarmed. They were just providing aid, baby formula for starving children, and I think some medicine. And it says here, the abduction of Rima Hassan, a sitting member of European Parliament, and so she was a key member to include in this. Rima Hassan, abducted in international waters by Israeli forces, is not only an attack on civilians, but a direct assault on international law, parliamentary immunity, and the principle of free humanitarian access. Israel must be held accountable. The European Parliament must formally demand her release and Israel's legal accountability. So that's what we're pushing for that here. This is, in addition to awareness, this is what needs to happen. There needs to be repercussions, and this type of aid must be allowed to go through. This interception is a direct result of the international community's ongoing failure to hold Israel accountable for its war crimes. We covered in maybe the second episode, which had some audio difficulties, but just last week there was another motion in the UN to hold Israel accountable for the war crimes and to kind of right the ship. And unfortunately, the U.S. was the sole vote against it, which because the U.S. is a permanent member, that caused the motion to fail. And anyway, and that's what needs to change. Is we need to put pressure on the U.S. The U.S. is the only one currently stopping things from from people getting held accountable in Israel. So that's what we need to push for. So that's that. And then there's one last video here. It kind of humanizes this struggle.
As Mahmoud Darwish said, this sea is mine. It's our right to welcome this ship, this urgent help in Gaza. And it's not anyone's else right to not allow it or to attack it or to harm the people. This blockade has been going since years and years. It's not something new. It's not something we suffered from just in this genocide. They are saying that there is no siege on Gaza since 2007. But what happened in 2010 when the Gaza Freedom Flotilla Marmara was attacked and 10 people were killed with cold blood. It just tells you that we have always been under siege. It's this big air, open prison that we are living in. After 7th October, it has been worse. Even the patients who need the urgent medical treatment have to stay in Gaza. And most of them died because they just couldn't get the urgent help. As a doctor, it was really challenging and stressful to go to Egypt to get my medical degree and then to come back to face this big, endless massacre. There's a huge shortage in the medical staff at the hospitals. Some of the doctors were killed. I myself feel I'm anxious about my life. Doctors are being attacked. Doctors are being kidnapped and raped in the prisons. We are all just young people thrown in the middle of this hell. The new blockade since 3 months now, it was for everything, not just for people. It was for food, for water, for medical supplies, for any necessity that would guarantee survival for anyone. There was no medical supplies whatsoever entering Gaza since months and months now.
And just to pause here, not only do they bomb the hospitals, the Israeli troops go in and actively destroy all of the medical equipment in the hospitals as well. They're denying the medication to come in, the insulin, the pain medications, everything that's needed, particularly in a population that is getting bombed and attacked and having their children shot by snipers. And they're killing the journalists, like all of this, it's insane. And this is a group that's powerful enough to stop the U.S. from intervening, that's powerful enough to stop our news broadcasters to sharing stories about it. They're talking about bullshit going on in California and a fight between Elon Musk and Trump, over Twitter wars and stuff. Like, this is totally being ignored. There's a war crime being committed in the past 24 hours and it's not getting any coverage. Like, these, of course, news broadcasters would want, to have compelling coverage. It's against their interests not to show this story, and yet they are. And this just happened. Greta Thunberg, they love to talk about it when they're pushing their climate change initiative, but now all of a sudden she's abducted in violation of laws, multiple different courts. I'll walk through them next, but yeah, this is big news, and yet it's not getting covered. So what's to stop the next thing from happening? I mean, there's so many things going on in our world, particularly with, information and, medicine and big things are happening. We got shut down for 2.5 years because of COVID, off of something. Was it something that we needed? Was it helpful? It turns out that the vaccine didn't prevent the spread. Well, now, oops, I'm gonna get this flagged on YouTube, but you get what I'm saying. Um, we need freedom of speech. That was limited. Everything was getting flagged. That true things were getting flagged and labeled as, you know, malinformation, misinformation, disinformation, things that were true, but not good for the narrative. And it was fine for a while until Elon Musk kind of switched things up and exposed what was going on, and they had to kind of reshuffle the deck. But they're putting it back in order, and they're successfully keeping things from mainstream media, which is why independent media is important. But we're not hearing about it, and like I said, even on Rumble, I didn't see any leading stories about this. So please thumbs up. I'm gonna improve the quality. Maybe we'll do some advertisements and do some creative things to increase our signal through monetary means. But it's important, and so like and subscribe. Give me some love, forward this around, because these stories we need. Or not even me, share these sources that I'm sharing. These are more well produced and have a higher likelihood of expanding. But these are the things that we can do. The only thing necessary for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing. And if you consider yourself a good person, you need to do something. And it's like exactly the enemy we need to address. We need to address other things. We need to address the influence of AIPAC, that's the Israeli lobby in U.S. government, because many things that are against our interests are getting pushed that are beneficial for Israel that are not beneficial for us, including wars, including funding of military projects in the Ukraine, deregulation, the shrinking of the CFPB and other important regulatory bodies, the EPA, that protect our interests against the interests of the corporations. These are all things that these controlled politicians are affecting, and we need to fix all of it. But this, children dying, like, this is something that needs to get fixed. And to put a fine point on it, here's a child in Palestine. He's trying to soothe her, she says. Yeah.
خفتش يا ماما خدتي بس حبيبي الله يسلمك تخافش الله يسلم الله يسلم تمام.
And this is their life. For what? If they wanted to get the hostages out, they could swoop in. This is not beyond them. They're doing this on purpose. They want to do this until they all leave or until they all die, and then they'll move in, they'll clean it all up. They're bombing, the camps that they send the refugees to. They put the food out and then they bomb. I mean, it's like anything you could think of, like the worst thing. This is what these group of people who are in charge. It's not all of them. There's a lot of good Israeli people. You don't see a lot of videos of them. There's more on the negative side. But 5% of the population rose up to oppose Netanyahu's power grab right before October the 7th, when kind of they could see the writing on the walls. He was trying to change things to insulate himself so that he could do whatever he wanted, and the people there rose up. So it's not fair to condemn the whole Israeli people, but we at minimum can't continue to support this, and we need to call for them to follow the laws to allow for humanitarian aid to come in to help these children. They're starving, one meal every 2 days. They have no water. It's it's a sad state of affairs, and we're all culpable if we don't stand up. This is, for people who in 20 years, your children, grandchildren ask you, what was it like back then? What did you do? And if you did nothing, then that's going to be on you. At this point, you know about it, and you need to raise awareness and advocate for innocent people to be helped, as you would want people to help you or your family. So that is the emotional video to share. Yeah, just real quick, I think I'll go through some of the crimes that have been potentially occurring just by virtue of this recent abduction of the 12 people bringing aid to Gaza. So, yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll talk about the USS Liberty, and then we'll wrap it. Okay, so possible legal violations here. Number one is a violation of the international humanitarian law and Geneva Conventions. So the blockage that prevents essential humanitarian aid from reaching a civilian population, particularly during famine, which was a man-made famine that Israel created, can constitute collective punishment. I'm sure that's a term of art, collective punishment, which is a war crime under Article 33 of the Fourth Geneva Convention. So blocking aid, humanitarian aid, from reaching a civilian population, war crime under Article 33. The flotilla was reportedly carrying baby formula, medicine, and water filters, essential for civilian survival. And that could be interpreted as, and this is a quote, intentionally using starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, which is a violation of the Rome Statute of International Criminal Court. That's the ICC, Article 8, subsection 2B 25. So the next purported possible legal violation is the violation of the law of the sea. That's UNCLOS. If the flotilla was intercepted in international waters, which it was, this may violate Article 87 and 90 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which protects freedom of navigation for peaceful vessels, which they were holding, no weapons, civilians, a reporter, and a member of the UN. A military intervention on the high seas, especially one not authorized by the UN Security Council. So the UN Security Council did not authorize Israel to militarily intervene on this peaceful vessel. That can be considered as an act of aggression under customary international law. So that's bolded. Act of aggression is the term of art there, and that's the violation of UNCLOS. The third violation would be an unlawful detention or hostage taking. If Greta Thunberg and other flotilla members were taken against their will, which they 100% were, without being charged or tried under international law, this is the same thing as like American law. Like you can't be arrested, term of art. You can't be stopped and detained and kept from your freedom without being charged with a law and without a trial. That's due process. And apparently the Geneva Convention enshrines that right for people internationally as well. So that's considered hostage taking or unlawful detention, depending on the facts of the matter. The fourth is obstruction of humanitarian relief. And so this is under UN Security Council Resolution 2417. Willfully impeding humanitarian relief during armed conflict is especially condemned and subject to international accountability. So humanitarian relief during an armed conflict, it's a raised level of of bad. That's extra bad. This event can be seen as a deliberate obstruction of humanitarian aid. Like, of course it is, 100%. and that carries potential criminal liability for the military and civilian leaders involved in the order. So that's a violation of UN Security Council resolution, and it says potential criminal liability for military and civilian leaders. So if the UN enforces its own laws, it could be holding the civilian leaders who ordered it and the military people involved in jail time. That's criminal. And 100% it is a deliberate obstruction of humanitarian aid. So the only question is whether the U.S. will veto any resolution aimed at causing responsibility. And the fact that none of the news broadcast places and none of the independent media, like Rumble, is not escalating it, this is its chance. Like, if it wants to be the free speech platform, Rumble, or YouTube, if you want to catch back up, like, this is the time to amplify it. Why are you not taking a stand? Like, your silence here is deafening. Like, how is that possible that you're not pushing this to the front the day after? I mean, they should be like hand-picking accounts to escalate, especially mine. I've only got a handful of concurrent viewers now. Like, if I'm the only one, which I can't imagine I am, bump it up. Other creators cover this. You know, there's so many, and hopefully Russell Brand is covering it. I'm gonna actually, after we finish the next segment, I'm gonna jump off and see what he's got going on there, and try and cause some trouble in the chat. But these things need to be amplified, and Rumble, you know, you should be doing it. So enough said on that. So that was the fourth, and the fifth is violation of the right to freedom of expression and assembly, and that's, you know, another kind of basic civil right issue. That's Article 19 and 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. So that's less of a, you know, sexy one. Not gonna incur any jail time, but anyway, that's 5, and those are 5 categories. Some of them involving 2 different laws in different courts. So that's that. I mentioned this in the video last night. If you want a more deep dive on it, I talk about the USS Liberty, which was an incident that happened on June 8th, 1967, which is the date it happened, at least in the U.S. time. Over where they were, it was 2 in the morning on the 9th, but for my intents and purposes, and when I broadcasted it, it was June 8th. So significant. So this happened during the Six-Day War, which you may not be familiar with. I'm actually just getting familiar with it. But it's significant because it was a war, kind of an attack by Israel, and that it kind of culminated, and perhaps the reason for it was a land grab. So it's one of the moments, one of the milestones in which Israel acquired an even larger chunk of land. And anyway, so during that time, the USS Liberty was in the nearby waters, the Gulf of something. And they were close enough. It was kind of USS Liberty was a spying vessel, and so they were obtaining radio signals, recording, and the story is, the most likely story is that this U.S. Navy intelligence gathering vessel was attacked by Israel. I mean, it definitely was attacked by Israel and their naval forces in international waters. I guess it was off the Sinai Peninsula for 2 hours. And there were 34 Americans were killed, 171 were wounded, and the whole time, you know, there's USS Flags. It's super large ship, much larger than any that they could have confused it for. But again, I think there was it 2 hours that they were flying by it, and there's, again, American flags. There's no question that the Israelis knew. They said it was a big mistake and it was the fog of war, whatever. So they killed all these Americans, wounded a bunch. President Johnson, at the time, there was a Mayday sent, and there were ships or planes that were going in to help the USS Liberty, and he called them back. And we'll do a longer form video on this, but he called them back to avoid embarrassing the Israeli allies. So presumably, at least my read on that is, he's afraid that we would have continued to have the fight with them, and it's better for us to just take it on the chin and resolve the misunderstanding later, And so he didn't want to, escalate it further by sending our military out there to fight off these Israelis who were attacking and killing Americans on the ship. So one last thing, and again, I'm not going to go into detail. There's more in the video from last night if you want to check that out. But this another damning thing, in addition to the fact that there's no way that Israel could have thought it was anything but the Americans, is that they jammed the ship's ability to send signals, and the only way to jam it is if you know what frequencies they're using, which is something you need intel for, and it's specific to that ship, right? So if it was the Egyptian ship, which, maybe they, or not maybe, they definitely didn't think it was the Egyptian ship under any circumstances, but that if it was that, then they would have used different frequencies. So the surgical use of just that part of it by itself proves without a shadow of a doubt that yes, the American ship was the target, the ship that they were flying around for 2 hours prior to the attack. Yeah, just ridiculous. And it was nothing happened from it. That incident by itself turned a ton of veterans against Israel, and it was a big moment that many say is a huge whitewashing and a example of what that an illustration of how the U.S. is subservient to Israel in all things, and that's just kind of the current state of affairs. But the more education we can get people of what's going on, the more dots we connect when we see these fake or not important stories totally eclipsing what's going on in international waters as humanitarian aid is blocked from these poor children that are getting terrorized, over the pretense of, getting the hostages back. I mean, no one believes that. It's been 2 years. We got the best military. You don't think we could send in Navy SEALs? We don't think we could triangulate? These people are living in rubble. Like, there's no plausible thing. You could send in military, go from encampment to encampment, find the people. Like, it's not believable, but it becomes believable when you see what they're allowed to do, violating all these laws. America's blocking it, and you say, oh yeah, this is how it works, and this is why we're not fixing it. But anyway, we're not going to give up. We're not going to give up on these kids, these men and women who've done nothing wrong, just trying to live their lives and not giving up. They're being brave, and we need to stick up for them. So that's all I got, guys. But we're going to keep sounding the alarm. We're going to keep putting together good content. We're going to put together long content that's well produced, free of any technical difficulties, stuff that is more shareable, but we appreciate your support. We appreciate you watching, and we're going to keep it up until we fix all of it. We got a lot of stuff to fix, but we're growing, and we're going to build some tools to help coalesce support around better candidates, to expose data points that show sources of funding. We're going to help amplify the signals of watchdog groups, like websites who rate different candidates, who's good, who's bad, so that you can know both in Senate races, but also in representative races and even your state and local Senate, who you should be supporting. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up, and we're just getting started.